Hi, we're going to do a quick test on bottled water. Okay, we already know some of the results from this because we've tested them before. But today, for our son who was thirsty, we bought a bottle of water in a plastic bottle. It says that it's vapor distilled water. Now you would assume that if it was vapor distilled water, then it must be very, very clean water. Okay? Never be deceived. Do not be deceived. Water in plastic bottles, no matter what it says, is not clean water. I'm going to show you how. We have this meter. It's called a TDS meter, and it measures particles per million in water. So obviously, the more particles per million, the more contaminated the water, the more unclean. Let's say that, okay? Although I'm sure there's a bit more science to it. But what we do is this. We use the principle of the higher the measurement on the meter, the less we want to drink the water, okay? So, what we have, so I'm going to show you, we have a water filter, okay? And it's a reverse osmosis water filter, and it filters the water 4 times, I think. So we're going to get 1 glass of reverse osmosis water. This is the water that we drink at home, okay? We'll put that there, okay? Next, we're going to get the smart water, and we're going to put the smart water here, and we'll measure that, okay? Now that's the water that we bought today. And then here, I'm just going to get water from the tap, okay? Water from the tap. One would assume that the water from the tap is probably the least clean water. Okay, and we're going to see what the TDS meter says. So let's just run it into our... Now I don't know if you can see that on the meter. If you can't, don't worry, it says 3. That's 3 parts per million. That is virtually pure water, virtually. It doesn't get much better than that, okay? Right, so now we're going to go for the smart water, and we're going to have a look. Smart water is running at 228, then 229 parts per million, right? That seems to be very high, doesn't it, compared to 3 from our reverse osmosis. All right, but here we've got tap water, so you're waiting for the worst result, because tap water is going to be bad, isn't it? It's going to be much worse than bottled water. And so our tap water is, wait a minute, 81. Wait a minute, tap water is cleaner than the bottled water, which is 228. So never assume that the water that you buy in a bottle is going to be better than the tap water. The bottom line is it's actually better to drink from a tap than it is to drink this bottled water. Although from the tap sometimes you've got fluoride in it. That's why we have a reverse osmosis. But our theory is this, that when the water goes into the bottle, quite often it is clean, but after it's spent time inside the plastic, it becomes contaminated. The plastic leaches into the water. So what we're going to do is this. We're going to do a test. We're going to empty the water out, and we're going to fill this bottle up with our clean water. That's at 3 on our meter. We'll leave it overnight for 12 hours, and in the morning we'll do the same measurement and see if it still runs at 3 or if the plastic is contaminated. Let's see. We don't know. We've never done this before, so it's going to be interesting. Okay, so we're just going to fill this bottle up with our reverse osmosis pure water. Okay? And then in the morning, we'll see what happens. So we'll show you in the morning. Hello, good morning. Here we are on the following day. We put filtered water in this bottle that was running at about 2 or 3 on our meter. We've left it overnight, and now we're going to see whether the plastic bottle has done anything to the water, okay? So we'll pour it in our glass, and then we'll use our TDS meter just to see what's happened. The meter, yeah. These, by the way, TDS meters, you can buy them from eBay, and I think this one costs something like £4 or £5. Very cheap, so that'd be about $6 or $7. All right, so here you can see it's 2. So it hasn't changed at all. Spending the night in the bottle has not made the water any dirtier. Okay, so what that makes me think is this. Okay, if the water hasn't changed at all in the bottle, then when we bought that bottle, it was at 200 and odd, I think, if I remember rightly. The water wasn't clean when it went in the bottle. Now what's that about? When you read this water has been distilled. Distilled water, you know, that's absolutely pure. Distilled water should come up as 0 on this, but it wasn't, it was 200 and something. What's that about? Well, what I believe is that what we think we're buying in bottled water is not what we're getting, okay? I see lots of people who are very focused on the health, drinking from plastic bottles, right? Buying their water, and they think that they're doing themselves a big favor. Let me tell you that probably you're not. Okay, and it's just as good for you to drink from a tap. Okay, the only thing I'm going to say to you is this. We know that plastic now leaches into the water. Obviously it isn't picked up by this meter. This meter doesn't pick it up. But we know that the BPA leaches into the water. It causes hormonal imbalances in your body. It affects the endocrine system. Okay, so it's not good to drink from plastic. Far better that you get yourself a reverse osmosis system and take your water with you and put it in a glass bottle, because glass doesn't leach, okay? Plastic does, and particularly if plastic has passed heat and cold, which in the transport process that happens, okay? It's even worse. So there we are. This meter costs very little, okay? $6 or $7, £4 or £5. Get one and start investigating the water that you are drinking. We are 70 to 80% water. We are what we drink. Okay, so make sure that you're starting to take care of yourself. Take care of the water that you drink. It's so important. It's life. Okay, hope that's been interesting. See you later.